Do you want to know how you can turn simple visuals into cinematic scenes without wrestling complex prompts or endless trial and error? Today we're diving into Kling 3.0, a powerful new feature that is now available within Weavy. With Elements, you can now structure your generation by defining key parts of the scene, such as objects, environment, actions, and this gives you far more control over your final result. So instead of hoping the model interprets your long prompt correctly, you can now guide the scene piece by piece. So Elements make your video generation more predictable, more controllable, and dramatically easier to iterate on. So whether you're creating cinematic shots, testing ideas, or complex scenes, Elements helps you get closer to the result you actually want. My name is Ken, and I would love for you to join me on a deep dive through the workflow I created around this feature to make sure you stick around until the end so you can see the final result. What I have set up here is a workflow in which I try to give all the context Kling might need to create an amazing video for me. What I've done is I created 3 different videos of 10 seconds with Kling 3.0 and stitched them together to make a final result. What I did to start off with is generate one image that I started as a reference, and then I've also created somewhat of like a narrative around it. So you can see here in my prompt what the beginning narrative is. Then I created my first image and I took that image as a reference to create the second image. So I'm basically, for Kling 3.0, we always have a first frame and a last frame, and in this instance, in this workflow, I always start every single video with a new first frame. So I've created my first frame, here I've created my second first frame, and here I've created my third first frame. What I've done here is I have analyzed my different frames with the different characters I need so that I can use that to give it as context to Kling 3.0 to make a very consistent video for me in which the characters are not losing their likeness. That's the goal of this workflow. So here I've got the deer and I've got the woman and I've got the fox. So what I did is I created different prompts for Nano Banana to basically extract those models and characters for me for different viewing perspective. So I've got the front, I've got the back, I've got the left, and I've got the right. And I basically did that for every single model and character that I wanted to implement within my video. Then I basically added those 4 images together into the Kling Elements node. So this is the new node in which we start off with a frontal image every single time, and then you add the other different images as context. So now that I've done that, the only thing that's left to do is go through the system that I've set up. What I've done is I created 3 different briefings for the 3 different 10-second videos that we are going to be creating. So as I mentioned here in the sticky notes, please feel free to swap out the scene brief and first frame if you want to create different videos, of course. Then what I do is I've set up a user prompt. Then together with the prompt concatenator, we're able to combine the user prompt and the scene prompt as one single user prompt. And then we have our system prompt that we are bringing in as well. So what this first step is doing is basically generating content for our first language learning model. In this workflow, we have set up 3 different language learning models. So we have our vision director, who's going to be helping up by setting up the different scenes. Then we have our element weaver LLM, which is going to be helping us weaving in those different elements. So if you want to use an element in Weavy at the moment, you have to tag it in your prompt. So here I've created context prompt that's going into the LLM so that it knows what the different elements are. So be descriptive if you can. So just naming out one is element 1, man is a realistic deer, head and large antlers, fitted black suit, white shirt and no tie. So I'm basically describing what the first element is, and I'm making sure my LLM is going to call that as well within their prompts. So that's what the element weaver does. And then for the prompt compiler, it's actually very easy, is trying to make sure we are keeping within the restrictions of 2500 characters, because that's going to be the limit for Kling 3.0 at the minute. So we needed that extra step to make sure that this very lengthy prompt is going to be narrowed down to under 2500 characters. Then I've added the first frame here, and you can see here I have got different frames. So this was the first frame. And then here I've got 3 different prompts. So every time I try and connect a new scene brief, I generate that, and as you can see here, I did that 3 times for my 3 different briefs. And I thought I would just leave that in here for you guys so you can see how I do it normally. And so when I try to create the first video, I use the first generated prompt together with the first frame. And then I also added some negative prompts, and to ensure that we're also triggering the multi-scene feature within Kling 3.0, we are basically organizing our prompts to say what the first shot is, that we then are looking for a distinct cut, naming out what the new scene is, and everything is going to be done automatically for you. So the structure is going to be set up for you automatically, the scenes are going to be set up for you automatically, and the elements will be weaved in automatically for you as well. So you don't have to worry about prompting anymore. All you have to do is create your briefs, create your characters and environment to set up the elements, and then basically add those in, and then you can start running this whole workflow, and all the hard work is going to be done for you because you don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to go through any trial and error because everything is already set up for you. And it's good to note that this whole workflow is again linked in the description. So if you want to see how everything works, how the prompts are set up, there's no gatekeeping, everything is available for you right away. As you can see here, we have set up the 3 different videos that we have generated with Kling. And what I did is I used the video concatenator node to bring those 3 different videos together in a chronicle order. And it basically made a 30-second video that I can now use as a next step. Then I also added something cool that I hope you guys are also enjoying, is an overlay. So as you can see here, I've got text, logos added on top of the image. And what is really cool about this is I've set up a user prompt here, and together with a system prompt to set up an LLM, which is giving me back this text separated by an @ sign. So it's contextualizing the content that I'm going to be using in the overlay. So what you can also do is just copy and paste one of the briefs here. It will then separate the text by an @ sign, and then by using the different list items, I can separate those and bring them into the compositor node together with the year and together with a logo. And then if we go to the compositor node, you can see I've got all the different layers within the compositor node, and I can change the text, I can change the color, I can change the font and the sizes. So this is basically that if you're going into social media and you would like to post it and add like something cool on top of like an overlay, this is one of the ways you can do it, and it's all available within the workflow. Then I tried to merge audio and video together. So I'm externally outside of the Weavy platform, I made some cool audio that you can hear. And I basically added that to the video, and then everything is basically generated and I can export it. So if you want to see the video, stick around to the end and I will just play it for you. But it's also cool to dive in a little bit deeper into the results that we're getting. So even though we have used multi-frame and everything is stitched together, whenever we are trying to export one video frame, you can see that the quality isn't lost on us. And that's why the elements feature is so important, because we've added so much context that there's almost no way that Kling 3.0 is able to drift from us anymore. So there's clear briefings into what we would like to achieve, and then we're also getting the results that we're looking for. So there's no guesstimating anymore. So like I promised, I will go to the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube video. There's going to be way more deep dives and tutorials coming, and maybe also new feature announcements. If you want to join the community, join the link in the description about the Discord. There's also some weekly events there. There's more information in the server of the Discord. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you enjoy the video as well. Thank you so much.
While everyone else is still arguing about aspect ratios, Weavy users have already shipped 3 campaigns and made it to happy hour. Automated workflows with Weavy's new Kling 3.0 Elements feature. From brief to final cut, without the existential crisis. Weavy, work smarter, leave earlier.